One of the questions that we get the most in our community is, do I use Codex or do I use Claude Code? Which is better? And while we could sit here and sort of debate over stats and statistics and who's doing better on which bench, the reality is, depending on what you're using, one platform might be better than another. So in this video, I want to look at it from a purely user experience perspective, where I gave both of these models or both of these harnesses the same task, which is I want you to rebuild Jira, which if you don't know what that is, it's essentially a project management tool. I'm tired of paying for it, so I told Claude and Codex, go build it. I have got two different versions. Even I don't remember who built which one. I'm just going to grade them blindly, and at the end, we're going to figure out who built which, and I'll hopefully provide some clarity on what harness might be better for your use case. So just so we have a comparison here, this is what we're currently handling. I've got these two pages. Now, I'm trying to remember which one is which, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. So we've got this one, which is just a sign-in screen, and essentially the prompt, I'm going to put it on screen. This is the prompt that I gave both harnesses, and I just told them, go build this, don't ask me questions, make your own decisions. I want to be the least involved as possible, and hopefully that's what I came back with. So this one at least seems to be working. I can log in. You see here, it says 13% complete, which I'm not sure how accurate that is given the fact that I have never used this software before. This is my first time seeing this stuff as well. So let's see what else we got. Good morning, Maya. Here I need your attention across Atlas. There's an active sprint. There's 0 tasks assigned to me, team velocity, open projects. If I click on board, I can tell just from starting point, I think it looks great. One concern I do have is it's too filled in. Like, it looks like it created a demo, which to me worrying because I don't want a demo. I want to work in product. So let's see here. I got a board. Let's see, can I click on these? I can put them in. Okay, so this is like the Kanban board essentially. And I can see backlog, selected, in progress, in review, and done. If I click on, can I create a new one? Click on create, and I do, this is a test. And the issue type is a task. Can I assign it to somebody? Okay, so I see a bunch of users here. I'm going to assign it to, I can't assign it to my account. Yeah, I'm going to assign it to myself and then create issue. So let's see. Now, this doesn't seem to have created that. So I did get an error, which is interesting. But I wonder if I go back to board, this is, I don't see any of that. So it doesn't seem to have created those, which is unfortunate. If I go to only my issues, that not either. So there does seem to be maybe a database issue. I don't know if it's even created a database for all this to be stored inside of. That's kind of my point earlier that I said about, I hope it didn't create just a demo, as in it just created visuals without the background information. And see here, see backlog, sprint 26, sprint 25. I click on this stuff. Okay, I can see assigning. So it looks good from the surface. Can I change it to done? Is that going to do anything? This workflow transition is not allowed. Interesting. Can I assign it to myself? This button also doesn't seem to work. This button either. And there is these things in the corner. They seem clickable. Okay, so dark mode works. That's good. So notifications. I do see some notifications, but I can't click on notifications. Can I create an issue? I can run a query. Okay, if I run this one, does that give me anything? It does. Here's the thing though. This is what I just created. So it can create them. It just didn't show up in the Kanban board, which is interesting. Can I edit this? And also this says assigned to me even though I am my HM. And then backlog, if I do in progress, is that going to make any difference? Is not allowed. If I need comment, test. Okay. Now if I refresh this, will that remember? This is a test comment. Okay, so it does seem to have some sort of memory component, which is nice. And there are some databases. There's a lot of buttons that are not clickable. Open sprint board, that does take me to my sprint. And also the in progress one does not seem to show up. Any other ways? Swim lanes. I don't know what this line is meant to represent. I can see burn down, velocity. I can't click on any of these. Website evolution, operations hub. It did seem to do quite a lot. But what I looks like happened is that it created thin. Like, it went really wide, but just really shallow. I think that's the right way to say it. Website evolution, setting. Let's go on settings. Can I change my name to something else? No, I cannot change. It seems to be editable, but these are not editable at all, which is fine. Can I change the avatar? No. Okay. Project details. I'm not sure if I can change any of this stuff. Doesn't seem like I can. Some of these buttons obviously look a little weird. Now, I can nitpick here forever about things that are wrong. I'm simply trying to see, did it build me a complete product or did it simply build me a demo? Which it looks like, at least, this is really cool. The fact that there is some sort of API, that I'm impressed by. I was not expecting that. Now, I think we did essentially the route for this version. Now, I don't know if this is Codex or this is Claude that did it. Let's look into the other one. So let's see what my login for this. I'm going to have to go find out. Okay, and I figured out what is my login for this. And it does look a little different. I will give it that. So let's see, what do we have here? Atlas, engineering overview. This looks, once again, this has also looks filled in, which I'm not sure I'm a big fan of. Now, if I click on notifications, one already a big plus is I can click on notifications. And I wonder if they do leave. So if you'll notice, I've got 10 now. If I click on one of these, I now have 9. That's huge to me. So it doesn't seem to have just thrown a bunch of stuff at the wall, which is nice. I can see an active sprint. I can move these around. Okay, beautiful. And then I can see recent activity. Who am I logged in as? Priya. Okay. Dark theme work. Dark theme does work beautiful. A little easier on the eyes. I can see projects. You can see no web app design. Wow. Okay. Site reliability and support. mobile web app, beautiful. It does seem to be a lot more in depth, I will say. The buttons seem to be clickable. I can click out individual tasks. Let's see, an assignee. Let me assign this to myself, and I can apparently assign things to myself, which is nice. Now if I go, this is Nova 29. Yeah, I can see this one. This is what I just assigned to myself. And then I click on filters, instance quarter, beautiful. Issues, let's click on. I can select multiples. I can change priority. Doesn't look blurry. Okay, I do have priorities, but it's high. That is not priority high. This is really, really good. I'm pretty impressed with all this stuff. Can I create an issue? Okay, so this is a test issue. I'm going to say the assignee is myself. I wonder if it knows what today's date is. It does though. Beautiful. So let's say the due date is Saturday, and then I'm going to do story points. I've got epics in here as well. Labels, let's do analytics. And then reviewer, I'm going to put as Aisha. Beautiful. Create. So I created this. Now if I go back to my dashboard, I can see this is a test issue. Can I put this now as done? Where would I? Oh yeah. Okay, here, start progress. Interesting. I can now move it to the next thing. Submit for review. Beautiful. Now I wonder, this is in review. Can I test issue? I'm hoping the other person. Where's the reviewer? Reviewer, Aisha. Beautiful. I love the fact that it actually remembers who the reviewer was. And then go back in here. Oh, there are no active sprints. The backlog. I think that's where we were. This is a test issue. Yeah. Now I can move this from in preview to approve and done. Beautiful. And I can leave comments as well, I'm assuming. How do I see things that have already been done? Oh yeah, this is actually false. This is like a paper trail. So if I click back here, this should be done. I wonder, can I make comment? This is comment. Okay, now let me refresh this. Seems to still be there. Beautiful. I mean, at least to me, I can even add a gadget. That's crazy. As I'm looking at this and thinking about it, this is not just a little bit better. This is miles better than what we were looking at before. And just from a usability perspective, this looks like this was so much more thought of than the previous thing I was looking at. And I'm really curious, what harness do you think made which one? Because I'm gonna reveal the answer in about 3, 2, 1. So if you guessed that this was Claude Code, you'd be wrong. This was actually Codex, and you can see that from my prompt here. This was my actual Codex prompt that I gave it all the way up here, and it went to start working on a bunch of stuff, and this is what I got back. And the Claude Code one is surprisingly this. So even though I would have assumed that Claude Code was a lot better at design and making it seem pretty, at least in this specific prompt, keep in mind these prompts were not optimized for each model. I just made a singular prompt. Claude Code performed significantly better in this specific use case than Codex. And I'm super curious because I've heard a lot of great things about the engineering behind Codex, so I'm wondering it was the prompt to the issue, but both of them had the same prompt and with the same input. I think we got fairly different outputs. This seems like a much closer to production version. I don't think any of these are ready for production, but on a scale of 1 to 10, this would have been a maybe like a 7, while I think Codex would have been more of a 3, if I'm being completely transparent. So that was the entirety of the video. I just want to check which one performed better. If you were as surprised as I was, let me know. Otherwise, subscribe. And if you want to learn more about AI, or if you want to get super deep, whether it's building your own agency or get clients, anything like that in the agency space, meet my business partner Mark, run one of the biggest AI communities on School with over 1,400 people, and I would love to see you in there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you want me to compare any other models, let me know.